Good day, and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan Battle video. So in this video I'm going to take on the Universal Survival Saga stage in SBR. So this team build here, obviously barring the Jiren that is the lead, is actually completely free to play. I don't suggest this team build, just simply because of the Caulifla and the Kale. I have them as floaters, and that's not really the best situation for them because they benefit better from having each other on rotation. So if you were to replace anyone in this team, I would start with the free-to-play Strength, Caulifla, and the Int Kale. But beyond that, obviously Kakunsa and Rosie are a decent combination together, and then the Jiren is going to link up with the friend LR Jiren. And that's going to be pretty much our main source of damage. The LR Jiren is pretty nuts. So yeah, obviously he's going to be our main form of damage, alongside his TUR compatriot that he links with pretty much perfectly. So in terms of the way these fights work out, the first fight is against 3 enemies, the second fight is against 5 enemies, and the last fight is against a couple of enemies as well. So there's no single target enemy fights here. There's quite a few multi-character fights here. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to try and save our Dokkan attack for the final stage if possible, or use it early on in the second stage, so that we can maximize the AoE benefit of it. But yeah, beyond that, the strategy is very simple. Basically, Jiren is going to do all of the damage. The hope is that the Strength Jiren will get some stuns off, because his passive allows him to randomly stun enemies once he enters the battlefield. And the Kakunsa and the Rosie are going to provide some utility, sealing and stun control on the units in the second rotation. And the Kefla and the Kale are hopefully just not going to die. That is basically the strategy for this team. Like I said, if you could replace anyone, I would replace the the Caulifla and the Kale. Sorry, I always get mixed up with my words there. I would definitely replace them. You could replace them pretty much anything in the Universal Survival Saga team lineup. There's no other real free-to-play cards that would slot in instead of them, except for maybe Ribrianne. Strength Ribrianne might be pretty good. The Int Ribrianne would be a really good option. Obviously her attack and defense lowering is very helpful on these kind of stages. And then you could also maybe you could run anyone. Anyone fits under this team. It's an all Universal Survival Saga team. So you can run anyone. Cards I don't suggest are cards like Bergamo. Bergamo's okay, but the fact that he takes so many attacks to build up his attack and defense really makes it super hard to use him in these stages, because by the time he's built up his defense, either the stage is over due to the amount of damage that you do, or he's just taking too much damage. Yeah, and then the other floating unit that we have is this Universe 11 support free-to-play card, the Universe 11 Pride Troopers. A pretty decent card. They actually hold their own pretty well. Obviously their defense is a little bit low for SBR, but they stack defense, so they do somewhat okay once the fight goes past a couple rounds. And the support they provide the Jirens is super invaluable, so yeah, definitely a good unit. If they had like a seal or something, or a chance to seal or something, they would obviously be a little bit better, but they're perfectly fine as is, and they serve their purpose really well. So overall I was very happy with how this team did. Obviously lacking damage is our main thing, but that happens. So with the Jiren, obviously the two main things about Jiren is, one, he's basically just attack and defense 200%. He does have super effective attack against units that are attack lowered and defense lowered. So you want to target those units when you hit them with Rosie or Kakunsa. And then also he does auto crits against units that are stunned. So if the Strength Jiren gets his stun off, we're going to be able to stun the units with Strength Jiren and then basically hammer them to death with the Tech Jiren's passive. Tech Jiren's also got an active skill that activates after he's been hit 5 times. It does activate once or twice in the SBR. Because he's so tanky, you can use him with an item to tank some of the damage. So that is helpful. But obviously, we do just need to keep in mind that that active skill is not going to be happening at least until the 3rd round, even if you start with Jiren in the 1st round. But it's very good. Reduces attack and defense by 40%, and increases his own by 40% as well. So it makes him hit very hard. His compatriot Strength Jiren, they share quite a few links, but Strength Jiren basically is a baby version of him. It's 120% attack and defense, and he also does a stun as he enters the battlefield, or has a slight chance to stun. I think it's 20%. So it doesn't proc all the time, but when it does proc, it's very, very effective because it stuns literally every single enemy. So it's basically a free turn. A lot of people run double Jiren rotations in this stage. It's one of the gimmicks. You could definitely do that, especially if you have Tech LR Jiren. If you have Universe 11 characters like Topo, Tech LR Jiren, into Topo, even Dispo, you can definitely run them. I would definitely run them all under the Universe 11 lead. It'll be very, very helpful. So here, as you can see, we didn't get the stun with Jiren, but we did manage to finally get them linked up with other Jiren. You can see their defense is very, very impressive. They're very, very impressive numbers. The Pride Troopers are obviously a support type for Universe 11. Sorry about the cut there. Just had to pause my filming while I was busy doing something and sorting something out. But yeah, the Pride Troopers, they are a decent support for Universe 11, so having them on rotation really obviously benefits the Jirens, but beyond that, obviously, he doesn't provide much support to the rest of the team. Then in terms of the other team, obviously we've been through Kakunsa and Rosie quite a few times, but Kakunsa and Rosie obviously gain attack and defense once they're on rotation with each other, and they also have the ability to seal if it's Rosie when there's a Kakunsa on rotation, and stun when it's Kakunsa and there's a Rosie on rotation. And then the Kale is a support for the Universe Survival Saga, and Caulifla is has the ability to evade and dodge. Caulifla does okay. Those two really could be replaced in this team. They are very much the weaker links. Even the support from Kale is not enough for me to say, wow, you definitely need her in the team. Because her defense only kicks in when she's on rotation with Caulifla, having her as a floater is really not that great. But it's manageable, and we made it work. So it does prove that you can use them, but I would not suggest using them. So here, what we're going to do is obviously we're going to just try and control the flow of the fight. So generally what we try and do is, obviously Rosie's seal is guaranteed because she's on rotation with Kakunsa. So what we try to do is we try to have Kakunsa stun someone that Rosie is not sealing. That just helps us mitigate the damage. Obviously there we get the stun, which is very, very good. And then Rosie will seal the hit because he hasn't supered yet, and sealing him will help mitigate quite a bit of damage because he can only normal attack then. Since these guys are stacking attack and defense, with Rosie stacking defense on her SA and attack from her passive because of Kakunsa, and vice versa for Kakunsa, after a couple turns they end up perfectly fine. I mean, you'll see them at the one stage in this video end up with like 200k defense. Tanking normals and stuff like that. So they take a little while to get there, but when they do get there, they are very, very good. They work perfectly fine on this stage. I have no problem with them in this normal version of the Universe Survival Saga SBR. As you can see, we got both the active skill and the stun from Strength Jiren. So because of that, we're going to get auto crits. And now we're also going to increase his damage. What we should have possibly done, and I will admit it, is I should have probably just attacked this turn with Jiren, and then used his active skill the next turn, because it's not going to have the defensive effect that I would like, because he's not reducing their attack because they can't attack. So it would have been nice for me to use it later on. Because then that would have meant basically we are having a free Icarus for a turn, essentially, a Icarus Awis for a turn. But that's okay. you know, like I say, whenever I make these kind of mistakes, it happens. People make these mistakes all the time. It's very easy in hindsight to say the exact perfect thing you should have done in every situation, but you know, it's very difficult to always think of all those things as they happen. So I hope you guys can learn from my mistakes. Definitely, if you have the active skill, please try and hold on to it and use it more when they can attack, but you want to reduce their attack and defense. So as you can see, Kokunsa and Rosie are really starting to stack up nicely here. They're really starting to hold their own. The strategy is going to be obviously to once again split the stun and the seal. We're going to try and get the stun on the Kale, which we do. And then Rosie is going to seal the hit, and he's not going to be able to super us, which means he's not going to do too much damage to anyone. And he's not going to be able to do some mega damage to our friends at the back, who are a support and have already been floating on and out of rotation. So yeah, we'll see how they do, but fortunately for us, they managed to double super, and that stacks their defense, and now because he can't super, they will be perfectly fine. So yeah, see, 12k. 12k is okay, considering you know, how much damage you could essentially take. So yeah, here we're just going to take a look. Obviously, the idea would be for the hit to take out, for the Jiren to take out the Kale, but because of the way everything works and because we're trying to mitigate damage, what we're going to do is we're just going to have Jiren finish off hit, and then we're just going, of course we get supered right at the end, just to test our mental fortitude. We get supered at the end, and at this point I was thinking I had wasted the last 12 minutes of my life. So, but beyond that, it all went according to plan, and yeah, we took out hit, which enabled us to basically remove a lot of the extra damage, and then we managed to dish out some damage to the Kale, and here we are just trying to obviously avoid getting the Dokkan attack as much as possible. So I don't think that happens, and we do get the Dokkan attack. Yes, we do. So yeah, unfortunately we wasted the Dokkan attack. That does happen, as I say to people. Unfortunately, sometimes it is one of those unavoidable things, and you may actually fail an SBR run simply because you got the Dokkan attack when you didn't want to, and if you had got it at a different point in time, you would have been able to heal and deal more damage and blah blah blah. That does happen. It is one of those factors in Dokkan that we do have to account for, and yeah, we'll just have to see how it goes. I'm sure everything will be fine, and you'll be perfectly okay once you get going. So yeah, this fight is quite difficult. It's 4 enemies, so obviously it's not as many as the second one, and it's a bit more than the first one, but these guys all do hit quite hard. They are actually pretty tough as well, and they have such a varying type makeup that it's not so easy to focus any one of them down. In terms of risk, we basically just want to remove this agility Vegeta as much as possible, because he attacks quite frequently, and we have 2 strength units, the Jiren and the Caulifla, who obviously can't take any hits, so that's a big problem. The next focal point will probably be the Android 17, simply because, again, he gives us a big problem, because he gives us an issue for our Rosie. So yeah, that's going to be the order of how we take people out here. Obviously, if Jiren had got a crit or an additional or anything like that, he would have beaten the Vegeta there, so that is a little bit bumming. But it all works out to plan anyway in the end. The Jiren that I took was a friend Jiren with 69% HP. So yeah, pretty reliable, pretty good. Had a dupe, so definitely a chance for him to crit or additional there. So he just was unlucky and didn't get it. But I think we managed to actually take out Vegeta here. So we do manage to accomplish our goal in the first turn. And we also have the Int Goku Super, the physical Universe 11 Proud Troopers. So that turn went quite well actually. From a output point of view, we ended up managing to control a lot more than we wanted, and now we can hopefully control the fight a little bit more with Gale, with Kakunsa and Rosie, with Gale, Kale, with Kakao, Kunsa and Rosie. So ideally here, what we want to do is we want to try and get the stun and the seal separate again, and just control 2 of the 3 remaining units, and then allow Jiren to work on 1 of the units next turn, and eliminate them from the battle. Ideally, obviously we'd like the strength Jiren to get another stun off, which will allow the tech Jiren to crit and pretty much insta-kill one of the characters, which obviously would be rather helpful. We have been getting quite lucky with Kakunsa's stuns, which, you know, have come in quite clutch. We didn't get so lucky there, but overall her stun has proven its worth this battle. I think she stunned like 3 times in a row pretty much, and since it's a 30% chance to stun, that's a really good rate. Kale, obviously, like I said, Kale and Caulifla, you can pretty much miss them on this one. Replace them with anything and your time will go just way smoother. It's one of those things. I had to use them because I was trying to give a little bit more of a free-to-play option here, but they're not units that I suggest for the stage. So here we get the stun off, which is great. You can see obviously that Jiren's going to crit when the stun is active. So we're trying to think of who to take out. I do think of taking out the Goku. I believe he will cause problems. In hindsight, we should have probably just finished off the Frieza and been done with it, because we don't have like any tech type units whatsoever, barring Jiren, who's got crazy defense. So in reality, probably should have taken out the Frieza, but it's okay. We get the stun off from Jiren as well. Jiren has the ability to stun from his SA. So we do manage to do a very large chunk of damage to the Goku. Unfortunately, we could not get the crit, which is a little bit unfortunate, but yeah. We do manage to get the stun, so we're now still only dealing with 2 enemies, which means if Rosie and Kakunsa can get their utility off, we will be able to control this fight and be okay from this point on outwards. As you can see, splitting them up once more, and we've got the Universe 11 Survival Saga unit here. We do take a super attack, as is the way, to always take a super attack when you don't want to. But I think we do get the stun off here from Kakunsa again, which obviously means we're then in the safe for the rest of the round, and there's nothing to worry about. So Rosie then goes in, gets the seal on the Android 17, which doesn't really matter because he actually had supered that turn. But I mean, hey, sealing someone's never a bad thing, and sealing a stun unit, wouldn't matter too much. So yeah, they also made a mistake. They should have attacked the Int Goku, so that we could have potentially also killed him. But yeah, like I say, it's easy in hindsight when you're watching these clips to see the mistakes that you make, but it's also good to see that you make these mistakes, because you can always learn from them. It's like reviewing game footage. Well, yeah, like, not that you would do the SPR 1,000 times like me for videos and guides and helping people and for fun. I like doing them with new teams for fun. I find them quite enjoyable. We do manage to get the stun off again. So Strength Jiren's stun came off twice in a row, which is really impressive. And then we get the finishing blow with Tech Jiren. So now we're only dealing with the 2 units, which is obviously very helpful. The Strength Jiren manages to also do a decent chunk of damage to Frieza. And at this point now, it's looking like the SPR is up and done and good to go. Again, Kakunsa, we're going to aim at getting the stun off. You can see by now that the defense is pretty high. Obviously we have an Android 8 active, but even then they still have a very high defense to be at that point. Probably sitting around 120,000, so very good overall. At this point now we're just kind of making sure that everything stays in control. I switched the Kakunsa and Rosie to accommodate whatever attacks are coming in and control we want to initiate at certain times. Obviously, if we can have the Rosie go first and guarantee seal someone, that will be very valuable, because Kakun's stun is not guaranteed, so yeah. But at this point in this SBR, it basically is guaranteed because she's been getting it so much, and if she hasn't, she's been getting an additional to get it, so yeah. But there we go, we took out the Frieza, and now we're sitting very, very, very comfortably. Obviously, the Android 17 on his own, not really going to do much, and he gets stunned, so we're guaranteed with the critical hit. So we're going to finish up with Jiren here. Very, very nice, and we will end off this battle. So overall, very, very smooth run. Quite enjoyed it. The team build was really enjoyable, but yeah, as I reiterated throughout, just drop Caulifla and Kale and you'll be fine. But I hope this helps you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. But good luck, let me know how you go in the comments, and cheers. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, bye.